Welcome to Mary Pitts Live presents 31 Marital Gems. Are you single, married, divorced, or dating? If you answered yes, then this is for you. Mary Pitts is a pastor, spiritual advisor, author, world-renowned speaker, and entrepreneur. Here's your host, Mary Pitts.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening and welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mary Pitts Live presents 31 Marital Gems. This is your host, Mary Pitts. As always, it's such an honor and a blessing to spend this time with you, sharing all my special gems. But anyway, we are on gem number 11. So before we get into that particular gem, let's make sure you like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel at Mary Pitts Live. Also, for more information about our ministry, feel free to visit our website, marypittslive.com. All right, marypittslive.com. So we are so blessed to be with you today, and I pray that you are being blessed by these marital gems. And I tell you, it's something to treasure and to hold on to, because when God reveals you and give you wisdom and knowledge and understanding, and I'm telling you, I don't care how long you've been married, all the different things that you're going through, all the wisdom that God give you, it's always great to have a refreshing, a reminder. And as well as, you know what, as long as we're in this body, we're still growing, we're still maturing. We still going to go through different changes. The Bible tells us that we change from one glory to another. And so every time there's a change, we're going to go through different changes, because you know what? We're all changing for the better. And so I'm learning something every day. And I'm so excited because I have some guests that are lined up that is going to be coming on with me sharing. And I just love sharing this platform, and as well as learning their experience, as well as gaining some wisdom from them as well. Because you know what? We're all in this together. My daughter often say, we can't do life alone. We can't be saved alone. And we always say it takes a village to raise a child. But you know what? Even as we become adults, it takes all of us coming together, because we're better together than apart. And we're all part of the same body. And I'm telling you, when you begin to get around other couples, other people, and whatever challenges that you're going through, sometimes you think that you're the only one going through that, or you're the only one experiencing that, or your spouse is the only one that way. But when you get from that, decide to leave the island that you're on, you'll find that, you know what, we have so much in common. We all go through some of the same things, same situations. And it's such a blessing that when you can go through and come out on the other end better and not bitter, and so, and then you're able to share with others. God will always bring other couples, other people, whatever your vision is, whatever God called you to, every experience, He'll always bring someone and some others to help you, that you'll be able to share and walk them through whatever they're going through. Okay, so anyway, we thank God and appreciate each and every one of you today. And so we'll be talking about gem number 11 today. And I tell you, I'm just so honored to be with you all, and just thank you so much for your prayers and your continued support. And, because God called us, there's an audience, there's people out there waiting for us. They're out there waiting, and you know who they're waiting for? You and I. And so I like to encourage you not to stop being hesitant, stop procrastinating, and just do it. A lot of times we try to dot every I, cross every T, and try to make it so perfect until we end up losing the person of who we really are. And people are looking for authenticity. They're looking for honest. They're looking for truth. They're not looking for no airs or anything like that, but just be you. Be the you that God created you to be. And I'm telling you, that's the only way you're going to show up. You show up being you, who God created you to be. And so I am so blessed again today, and just thank you all so much. Feel free to share. Sharing is caring. and also just share it and invite some others to come on that you think that might be a blessing. A lot of times, as we say, we don't want to wait till things start happening before we get help, but we want to always how to learn how to maintain the relationship. We start relationships and we end them just as quick as we start them. But how do I maintain relationship? And if we don't learn how to maintain the relationships, I'm telling you, we're going to find ourselves in one relationship after another. And then we'll come to the place and say, you know what? Ain't nobody out there for me. Ain't nobody out there. And we'll feel like we just this different person, unique person. But it's all it is that we refuse to change. And if we don't change and we keep drawing the same type of men or same type of women, whatever, same type of men. You know what I'm saying? So you have to say, okay, why does I keep drawing this same type of person? You know what I mean? And so sometimes we have to examine ourselves. All right. But anyway, we're going to get into marital gem number 11. Make marriage a priority. Make marriage a priority. We're making marriage a priority. I was thinking about making your spouse a priority, but then I changed it to make marriage a priority. The thing about it is that when you make marriage your priority, you have to look on your calendar. Someone said, yeah, just look at your, well, we don't hardly do checks that much, but look on whatever means that you use in order to purchase things, whether it's cash out, whether it's a check, or whether whatever you do, PayPal, whatever you use to purchase things, credit card, just look on there. I remember one time the bank sent the itemized list of my credit card and had it itemized in restaurants and all this different stuff. And sometimes you get a wake up call. Oh my God, look, this is where the money is going. We got to cut back. We got to make some adjustments. And so you'll see where you're putting, they said, look at that, and you'll see where you're putting your time at. And so we can say a lot of things out of our mouth, but it's where we need to look at where we're putting our time at. And so we look at our yard. If our yard is not done, the grass and the weeds and everything is all up. Time is not being spent there in the yard. We can say what we want to. And a lot of times, well, I know I need to mow that lawn. I know I need to get someone to mow that. I need to do this and I need to do that. And we constantly keep saying what we need to do. We probably have an awareness of what we need to do, but what we actually do is something else. I remember God telling me one time, he says, if I had someone following you all day, every day with a camera and recording you, and how much you say the things that you need to do or you're going to do versus how much you actually get done. So what am I saying is that a lot of times we're aware of certain things that we need to do, and we think that we're putting our marriage a priority. And I want to say marriage because it's about the marriage. And so if you're just saying, okay, put in my husband, making him a priority, then a lot of times we think we don't benefit from that. We don't benefit, but there are so many benefits in putting the marriage as a priority. And so look at your calendar, and you know what? We schedule all these other things, and you have to be intentional about that because it's not automatic. Let me tell you that it is not automatic. So you have to be intentional about making your marriage a priority. And sometimes even with small kids, even if you have small children, you have to do it because all the attention, I remember having my first child, all the attention is immediately just without even thinking goes to the baby. And we know that infants and children and small kids need what they need a time and attention, but you cannot fail to not give your marriage time and attention, because when you give your marriage time and attention, it's going to help you to be better parents. And because and I know at first you have to kind of juggle, you're trying to figure this thing out and how to do it. And that's why it's making your marriage, because it's a process. You have to be intentional. It's not automatic. And before you know it, you'll realize that you haven't been putting a whole lot of time into your marriage. We can get caught up into our careers. We can get caught up into our jobs. We can get caught up into just caring for the children, and that's it. But you have to remember, you're not just a parent, but you what? married. You have to understand you're just not just a parent, but you're a wife. Okay. And so you have to understand that you have to be intentional. And if you care about your marriage, you will be intentional. So a lot of times we say, I have to make time. And so we make time for whatever is important to us. And so we don't want to take each other for granted. We want to be intentional and take each other for granted. And another point I want to say is that we think that we making our marriage a priority. Let me say this, based on what's a priority to us in the marriage. So what is important, you can make your marriage a priority, or let's say spending time. We talked about that. But, are you making are you in tune with your spouse and know what's important with your spouse, or know what they like or whatever? Because you can be doing some things, but they don't think you make it a priority because it's not something that what they want to do or they like, they don't, it's not on the same level to you. So if it's you have one, two, three, certain things is one, two, three in that order. Well, maybe to your spouse it's three, two, one. You know what I mean? So your one, two, three could be his three, two, one. And so you have to have that conversation, and and having that time where you can just create this environment and create the time together and make it a priority. Make it a priority, make it an importance, make it significant, make it because a lot of times spouses look at it and say, well, oh, you drop what you're doing, you go do this, and you drop what you're doing, you go do this, and you do all that, and we'll just run anytime. And even when it comes to our adult children, I mean, we put our adult children before our marriage. And I see people so many times is saying that their relationship with the kids, and I know I love my children, but my children do not come before my spouse. You may disagree, but that's you. I'm telling you, there is an order. And so, and so a lot of times we have made our children everything. And when they get older and when they start getting their own life and with their own friends and doing their own thing, and they're not coming around, and you kind of disappointed and you hurt, and you just, well, I gave all my time, I did all this for them. And so, you left there with your spouse. They say after all the children have left, that's the test of your marriage, because we ever did was just everything was centered around the children. I remember when our kids was actually become teenagers and they're able to stay home by themselves. And so my husband and I had went away, and he was he was like, oh, the kids will enjoy this. He just kept saying it. It was time for me. He just kept saying it, right? So I said to him, I said, well, do you want to call them to come over? Because they were here. My niece had came over with them, right, and stayed over, was spending time with them. And so I said, well, she can bring them over. I think we went to Daytona or somewhere. And he was saying, oh, they would love this. And he just seen all the things at the hotel that the children probably would love. And he was just like, I think they'll just love it, And so we called, and so the kids was like, no, Dad, we good, we fine. And I think that kind of did something to him, because, and even as they began to grow up, because when they were small, when they come home, they'll run, hey, Daddy, and all this stuff like that. And so those relationships starts changing, because when you had your children as a priority, and now things are changing, they're getting older and they have other interests and want to go places and do other things. And they're like, oh no, Mom, I got something going. I'm going to do, whatever. And it's like, what? So you have to make sure that you make your marriage a priority. What are some of the ways, I'm going to ask you and put in the comments, what are some of the ways that we can make our marriage a priority? Would you share that with me today? What are some of the ways that we can make our marriage a priority? What are some of the ways that we can make our marriage a priority? What are some of the things that you have done? What are some of the things that you are doing? And so even if you're been married before, or maybe you're divorced, or maybe you're a widow, what are some of the things that you've done? Or even if you're divorced, as you look back, sometimes hindsight, we can see some changes. And I know we quick to see certain things that the other person, our spouse, may have done and what have you. But it's always a learning experience, because it's always something that we learn by ourselves. But what are some of the things that you find that you can put as a priority? How are some of the ways that we can make our marriage a priority? One is scheduling time. We have to be intentional, I know, and schedule time and spend time together and talk and stuff and find out each other interests. And you know what? And learn each other. Time, sitting time and talking. And sometimes we think we have to spend money and go buy something and go spend money somewhere. And we want to do all of that, spending all that money and still don't know each other. And we could be doing things that neither one of us like doing, just thinking, assuming, and we have, assumptions, thinking that one loved this and that one loved the other. So, and so different things that you could do to make your marriage a priority is that one is you want to be intentional, you want to schedule it, and sometimes we think that our spouses think we automatically should know. Sometimes we'll just think about it. How do making our marriage a priority? There are some things that even I know my husband speaks to me about is sometimes it's like if he's working on something, if he asks me to do something to help him with something, and I said, "Oh, I got something else to do." Well, he feel that I'm not making that a priority. I'm not making things a priority. So we want to see what are some of the things. Uh, Pastor Cassandra said during vacation time, I divided week of vacation for me, week of vacation for my husband and we spent week vacation as a family with the children. That is so awesome. That is a great point. You want to make sure that you schedule those times that where, and I do that as well, Pastor Cassandra. Thank you for sharing. When my kids was younger, we scheduled that time for us, and then we scheduled that time, for the children. And I read this article, and one thing they were saying that even when you have small children, they said you want to train your children and let them know that the marriage is priority. You want to train your children and begin to talk to them when they're small. Okay, you're going to bed at this time, because mom and dad, I was going to spend some time. And as you begin to train them and they begin to understand, start with them as a young age and train them and let them know that. But every time they cry, or every time they want something, and every time they have a fit and stuff like that. I remember my husband and I went to a marriage weekend, a workshop. And so they had give us an assignment and told us that when we go home the next day that we're going to schedule time together and that next day. And then when we come back, we had to share our experience and how did it go. Well, there was a couple there and they said their teenager daughter, I think about 16, went in there acting up and was having a fit in the garage and went on like that. And they said they just let her have a fit and let her be right in the garage while they had their time together. And so there are things, and another thing in order to making our marriage a priority, we want to learn how to say no. Do you know how to say we don't know how to say no, and sometimes when we're together, and I know we're in technology and phone, and I know I'm guilty of this because it's like my cell phone. I got it all the time. And when that time that when me and my husband together, you have your cell phone, you have time with them, but you're constantly looking at it and you checking this and looking at that. Well, you're not giving yourself to the marriage. You're not giving all of you to your spouse and to the marriage because you constantly, and so sometimes we have to put these electronics away, put our cell phones away, put whatever that is distracting us away and bring all of us into one place. Sometimes we can be physically there, but don't you know the other person feel when you're not connected, we're not in touch, you're not in touch to the moment and to where we are. And so we have to make sure that we schedule those times together. And so my sister, she was saying, set aside time for us. That is so, a lot of times we say me time, but we need to set some us time. So we time. All right. So that is really great. We have to set some we time. And so that is really good. Anybody else have any other recommendations that we can make marriage a priority? And I think sometimes we don't do that because we have so many different things, everybody is pulling for our time. But that's why, I remember one time I was so stressed. I was like, oh my God, I got to meet this deadline, you know, and I was just in such a hurry. I just got to meet this deadline. And I'm just feel overwhelmed and just really stressed. And the Holy Spirit said to me, well, just change the time. You the one set the date. You the one set the time. He said, change the time. And and that was like a big weight lifted off of me. I'm like, that is so right. Sometimes we set times and dates that put us in a crunch or whatever, and we're in control of our dates and times and stuff like that. And so, you know what? Sometimes you have to call people and say, you know what? I can't meet that deadline. I know I say this, and you have to make some adjustments. And so, in order to make sure you keep in your marriage in make it a priority. And because it's just like if you're growing something, if you have a garden and if you don't take care of it, you know, if you don't take care of your garden, it's going to dry up. It's not going to, if you don't water it, it's going to dry up. You just can't leave it on automatic, you know, for things. That's just like anything. If your children, if you don't take care of them or give them a chance, you know what I'm saying? How are they going to end up? So that's the same way with our marriage. We have to make it a priority. We have to make it a priority. And sometimes we have everything on the list except our marriage. We have this, our goals, our careers. We have this, the children, going to that, our friend, a baby shower, this, that. And you look on the calendar, you don't see your spouse nowhere on the calendar because it's automatic. You think because, okay, they're going to come home, we at the house together. And just because you stay together, that don't mean you living together and have the same name. It doesn't mean you have, it doesn't mean you have the same, it doesn't mean you have the same, making your marriage a priority. It doesn't mean you make it a priority. So you want to make sure that you being intentional. Be intentional. Start and when you make it a priority, don't just put down everything what you like, what you want to do, and what you want to experience. You want to consider your spouse. And I say, sit down together, come together, and learn each other, and begin to see some things that you love to do and you want to do. And so sometimes you're, inviting one another, and scheduling one another, going walking together, spend it's so many different things that you can do in order to make your marriage a priority. And so don't ignore if you neglect it. Come on, if you neglect it. And a lot of times we get this backlash and we experiencing certain things because we don't make our marriage a priority. And you know what? And sometimes we're around certain people and friends, it's like we come alive. Oh my God, yes, yes. And then we're around our spouse, it's like we just a dead whatever. And so then it seemed like, okay, all right, what is it about? Where's the fire? Where is the rekindle that fire? And so make your marriage a priority. Be intentional, be very intentional about it. Just like you go to work, some of you may be working remotely, but you know what? You schedule that time. You have to be on your laptop, on your computer at 8 a.m. Why we can't do that for our marriage? Isn't not that important? And you know what? We used to do that. When we first got married, we did that. We were so, in love. We just couldn't do it, and all of that. But as we get to, are we taking each other for granted? Are we taking our marriage for granted? And our marriage can only be, come on, what we make it to be. It's kind of like church, people want to, oh, this is boring, this, what, where are you putting time in? What are you doing to make it better? So, it takes both of us. Make your marriage a priority. Do some things to make your marriage a priority. You know what I'm saying? When the last time do you kiss during the day? Do you give each other smacks and kisses during the day? Do you, do you go and do hugs? Do you hold hands? There's a lot of little things that you can do to make your spouse realize, hey, I see you, I notice you, I'm here, and just create that environment. Because you know what, you can't turn, just like you can't turn your home into something that you're not. And you can't turn your marriage into something that you're not, and that you're not willing, come on, to put attention to. And so you have to make sure and be intentional. intentional. You have to get down and begin to think about it, because it's not going to be automatic. Because every day I can go on, you can get caught up and do, and before you know it, you done spent time all day and look at, oh my God, look what time it is. And have you connected with your spouse during the day? Send a text, a quick phone call, send a heart. I mean, it's so many different things. And I'm telling you, believe it or not, uh, I was just saying to the Holy Spirit, the Holy Spirit just started giving me love words and giving me things to do and to say. And so, but make sure and learn your spouse love language. Learn the things that really cause them to come alive. Certain things, you know what I mean? And sometimes we do things for our spouses what cause us to come alive. And they still dead. So make sure you're doing some things that will cause your spouse to come alive, and that will cause them to really just wanting to be in your presence. It's like when you're in the presence of the Lord, you just like, oh, I just want to be in his presence. That experience you can't even explain it. But that's the way with your marriage and with your spouse. Make your marriage a priority. And I'm telling you, when you make your marriage a priority, you both benefit. You both come out. I'm telling you, you get more than what you ask for. Let us not be selfish. Let us not be selfish. Let us not. And you know what? Be the first. Don't be thinking about, oh, who's going to do it first and who's going to be. Yes, Miss Joan. Miss Joan say, be intentional. And that's what we have to do. Be intentional. You know what I'm saying? Be intentional. And so if you can't think of anything and all that, honey, you can Google and get ideas. You can go on YouTube and get some ideas. You can go, and just, and then better yet, just sit out and schedule time with your spouse. And sometimes it's okay to be spurred of the moment, but sometimes you being spurred of the moment, they're not spurred of the moment and they got something scheduled and you feel disappointed. But hey, what's your schedule like today? Let's schedule some things, some us time, just as we do me time. And so I just pray you are blessed today. Be intentional. Be intentional. And sometimes too that we feel, because we together all the time, all during the day, maybe you're at home all during the day and all, but still special something that we home together all day, every day, some of us right now. But even in that time, don't just think that's I'm making a priority. No, you got to be intentional and do some special things. Okay, yeah, we home all day, but what is it in that day that's really going to stand out? That you guys know that, you know what, this is about us. This is about us. We're going to do something in that day, not just you in one room watching TV, then another room watching TV and all that. That is not making marriage priority. We just home together, So make your marriage a priority. I'm quite sure you already know what you need to do. All right. Don't make it difficult. Don't make it complicated. You know what you need to do, and just do it. All right. God bless each and every one of you tonight. And I thank you so much for joining us. What are some of the takeaways? What are some of the takeaways? Shake the dust off that lingerie. Oh my God. And use it and put up the cotton. Pastor Cassandra says, shake the dust off the lingerie and put up the cotton pajamas. All right now. All right, y'all hear that? All right. And sometimes, you know what? Sometimes when we get saved and over to the Lord, sometimes some husbands were glad when we wasn't saved because they felt, So we just, all that intimacy part, we just throw it out the window. But what am I saying today? Like she say, pull out that lingerie. Or if don't worry about no lingerie, your birthday suit, what you was born in, So whatever works, whatever what, and you know how sometimes we somebody press it, we say, oh, they pressed the wrong button, whatever. And we say it in a negative connotation. Well, why don't you press the right button, right? Pull out the lingerie, press the right button. You know what cause your spouse to cause him to turn his head. You know what can light his fire. Do that. Okay, do that. You already know. So stop pressing all them other buttons that causing confusion and all of that, and create this environment and atmosphere of love. All right, don't. It's not automatic. You're gonna have to be intentional and do it. So you said, well, oh, my husband this is that. There's a will, there's a way. God will reveal to you the way if you just be willing. All right. So God bless you tonight. I just appreciate God for each and every one of you for joining me tonight as we share gem number 11, make the marriage a priority. Make your marriage a priority, okay? Make your marriage a priority. And make sure you reach out and let me know how's it going. Let me know how it works. You ain't got to go into all details. Just let me share some things that you are doing, all right, to make your marriage a priority. All right, I know we've been sharing selfies and different things. I see how my husband I seen a change in him. My husband share this and let you go for real. Preachers close like 3 times, right? But anyway, my has some things that he have done that I seen and just really, I'm like, oh my God. And people will say, oh, I thought you posted that on social media. I'm like, I ain't do that. He did that. He done been making him some flyers and putting pictures of him and I on there. And he did a New Year's Happy New Year flyer. I know y'all go to his page and like it. And he did something else. He been doing a thing. And our anniversary, he made a flyer. Then I seen in the story on Facebook, and my friends was like, I thought you posted those pictures. I said, no, my husband did that. But he had pictures and all that. And he was just some different things that I'm seeing that he's doing, and that's really sparking me. So I just appreciate him making our marriage a priority. And I am constantly changing and working in that area and doing some things to put that smile on his face that nobody else can do. You know what I'm saying? There's honey, let me tell you something. There's something that you know what it is. I don't know what it is, but you know your spouse, to make him to turn a way that nobody else can. All right. So you know what that is. Get back to business and do what you know you need to be doing. Making your marriage a priority. All right. This is my final closing. I promise you, I love each and every one of you. And thank you so much for joining me today. All right. And those children not going to die. They'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? Don't you spoil them like you the only one have to rescue them. They'll be okay. I don't care. Y'all know them small kids on it. They'll play it on you. All right. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, as well as after this segment, go over to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please share. And also for more information about our ministry, or if I could be of service to you in any way, remember, visit our website, marypittslive.com. All right. See you tomorrow for gym number 12. Tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. God bless and have a great evening.